Hungry lion approaches abandoned African boy. You won't believe what happens next. The scorching African sun beat down mercilessly on the dusty road that snaked through the savannah, shimmering heat waves rising from the cracked earth and distorting the distant horizon. In this unforgiving landscape, where life and death danced a delicate ballet, an unlikely encounter was about to unfold, one that would challenge the very fabric of nature and touch the hearts of all who would come to hear its tale. Musa, a frail boy of no more than 7 years, sat huddled by the side of the road. His thin frame shook with each sob that escaped his parched lips. Tears carved glistening tracks down his dust-caked cheeks, a stark contrast to the arid world around him. How long he had been there, he couldn't say. The hours had blurred together in a haze of fear, hunger, and despair. Just days ago, Musa had been living with his grandmother in their small village on the outskirts of the national park. Life had been simple but happy. His parents had died years before, victims of a terrible accident, but his grandmother's love had been a balm for his young soul. Together, they had carved out a life filled with laughter, stories, and the richness of their tribal traditions. But fate, it seemed, had other plans for young Musa. His grandmother had fallen ill, her aging body finally succumbing to the harsh realities of their world. The village elders had decided that Musa should be sent to live with distant relatives in the city. They believed it would offer him a chance at a better life and education, opportunities that their small community could not provide. And so, with a heavy heart, Musa had been placed on a rickety bus bound for the city. The journey had been long and uncomfortable, the unfamiliar sights and sounds overwhelming his senses. But it was nothing compared to the terror that gripped him when the bus broke down in the middle of nowhere. The other passengers, mostly adults, focused on their own troubles and had begun to walk toward the nearest town. In the chaos and confusion, no one had noticed the small boy left behind, too shy and scared to speak up. And so Musa found himself alone, abandoned on a desolate stretch of road, with nothing but the clothes on his back and a small bag containing a few precious mementos of his old life. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, Musa's hope began to fade. He was hungry, thirsty, and terrified. The vast expanse of the savannah stretched out before him, beautiful, yet menacing. Strange sounds echoed in the distance. The call of unfamiliar birds, the rustle of wind through the tall grass, and occasionally a low rumbling roar that sent shivers down his spine. Little did Musa know that he was being watched. A pair of amber eyes, keen and intelligent, observed the small human from the cover of a nearby acacia thicket. Assad, a magnificent male lion in his prime, had been dozing in the shade when the scent of fear and the sound of quiet sobs had roused him from his slumber. Assad was no ordinary lion. Born in captivity, he had spent the first years of his life in a zoo, where he had developed an unusual fascination with humans. Unlike his wild-born cousins, Assad did not see humans as a threat or prey, but as curious creatures worthy of study. When he had been released into the wild as part of a conservation program, Assad had carried this unique perspective with him. Now, as he watched the small human child, Assad felt an unfamiliar stirring in his heart. The boy's distress called to something deep within him, awakening protective instincts that typically only applied to his own kind. With silent grace, the lion emerged from his hiding place and began to approach the road. Musa, lost in his misery, did not notice the approaching predator until a shadow fell across him. Looking up, he found himself face to face with the most magnificent creature he had ever seen. The lion's mane glowed like burnished gold in the sunlight, his muscular body radiating power and majesty. For a moment, time seemed to stand still as boy and beast regarded each other with a mixture of fear and fascination. Musa's heart pounded in his chest, every instinct screaming at him to run. But something in the lion's eyes held him captive, an intelligence that seemed almost human. Assad, for his part, was equally transfixed. He had seen human children before, of course, but never one so small and vulnerable. The boy's tear-stained face and trembling body awakened a fierce protectiveness in the lion. In that moment, Assad made a decision that would change both their lives forever. With exquisite gentleness, the lion lowered himself to the ground beside Musa, his huge body curling around the boy, offering warmth and comfort. Musa, driven by exhaustion and a child's innate trust in the goodness of the world, found himself leaning into the lion's soft mane. The rhythmic sound of Assad's breathing and the warmth of his body soon lulled the boy into a deep, dreamless sleep. As Musa slept, Assad kept vigil, his keen senses alert for any potential threats, from other predators to the humans he knew would eventually come searching for the lost child. Hours passed, the sun tracking its way across the sky, painting the savanna in hues of gold and amber. It was near sunset when the sound of an approaching vehicle broke the silence. Assad's muscles tensed, ready to defend his small charge if necessary. But as the battered Land Rover came into view, he relaxed slightly. He recognized the scent of the humans inside. They were part of the conservation team that patrolled the park. Dr. Amina Okafor had been searching for the missing boy since receiving word of the broken-down bus. As a wildlife veterinarian and conservationist, she was used to expecting the unexpected, but nothing could have prepared her for the sight that greeted her as she rounded the bend in the road. There, bathed in the golden light of the setting sun, was a tableau that defied belief. A massive male lion lay curled protectively around a small boy, both of them seemingly at peace in each other's company. Amina's hand flew to her mouth, stifling a gasp of amazement. "Stop the car," she whispered to her colleague David, who was driving, "and whatever you do, don't make any sudden moves." As the vehicle came to a gentle stop, Assad raised his head. His amber eyes met Amina's, and in that moment an understanding passed between them. This was no ordinary lion, and this was no ordinary situation. With slow, deliberate movements, Amina opened the car door and stepped out. Her heart was racing, every instinct honed by years in the field screaming at her to retreat to safety. But something stronger compelled her forward, a sense that she was witnessing something truly miraculous. "Hello, beautiful," she murmured, addressing the lion in the soothing tones she typically reserved for injured animals. "We're here to help. We don't mean any harm." Assad watched her approach, his body still curled protectively around the sleeping boy. As Amina drew closer, she could see the child's chest rising and falling in the peaceful rhythm of deep sleep. It was a scene of such tenderness that tears sprang to her eyes. Slowly, carefully, Amina knelt beside the unlikely pair. Assad's eyes never left her face, but he made no move to stop her as she gently placed a hand on the boy's shoulder. "Little one," she called softly, "can you wake up for me?" Musa stirred, his eyes fluttering open. For a moment, confusion clouded his features as he took in the strange woman before him. Then, as awareness returned, he sat up with a start, pressing himself closer to Assad's warm bulk. "It's all right," Amina soothed, her voice gentle. "You're safe now. We've been looking for you. Can you tell me your name?" Musa stammered, his voice hoarse from crying and disuse. "Hello, Musa," Amina said. "I'm Dr. Amina. We're here to help you. Can you tell me what happened?" As Musa haltingly recounted his story, Amina felt her heart break for the orphaned child. But even as she listened, her mind raced, trying to make sense of the extraordinary scene before her. How had this lion, a wild predator, come to protect a human child? It defied everything she thought she knew about animal behavior. Throughout Musa's tale, Assad remained a calm, reassuring presence. His eyes never left the boy, and occasionally, he would gently nuzzle Musa's arm as if offering comfort. The sight filled Amina with a sense of wonder she hadn't felt since she was a child herself, dreaming of a world where humans and animals could truly understand each other. As Musa's story came to an end, Amina knew she faced a difficult decision. Protocol dictated that she should remove the child from what was objectively a dangerous situation, but her instincts, honed by years of working with animals, told her that something truly extraordinary was happening here, something that might have far-reaching implications for their understanding of animal cognition and empathy. "Musa," she said gently. "We need to take you somewhere safe, where you can have food and water, and where we can figure out what to do next. But I can see that you and your friend here have a special bond. Would you like him to come with us if he's willing?" Musa's eyes lit up at the suggestion, and he nodded eagerly. Amina then turned to address the lion directly, feeling only a little foolish as she did so. "What do you say, beautiful? Will you come with us? I promise we'll take good care of both of you." To her amazement, Assad seemed to consider her words. Then, with a grace that belied his massive size, he rose to his feet. Gently, he nudged Musa toward Amina, as if giving his permission for the boy to go with her. What followed was a procession unlike any the African savannah had ever seen. Amina walked slowly back to the Land Rover, Musa's small hand clasped in hers. Behind them, Assad followed, his powerful presence a comfort rather than a threat. David, Amina's colleague, watched the scene unfold with a mixture of awe and trepidation. "Amina," he hissed as they approached, "what on earth are you doing? We can't take a wild lion back to the research station." "Amina," she replied, her voice filled with excitement, "I don't think this is just any wild lion. Look at him. Have you ever seen anything like this before? This could be the discovery of a lifetime." Despite his reservations, David couldn't deny the extraordinary nature of what he was witnessing. As Amina helped Musa into the back of the Land Rover, Assad calmly padded around to the rear of the vehicle. With a single powerful leap, he jumped into the open back, settling himself beside Musa as if he had been doing it all his life. The drive back to the research station was surreal. David kept glancing in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the lion attacking at any moment. But Assad remained calm, his huge head resting on his paws as Musa leaned against his side, the boy's small fingers buried in the lion's mane. As they drove, Amina's mind was whirling with questions and possibilities. How had this lion developed such an affinity for humans? Was it possible that he had been raised in captivity and then released? What did this mean for their understanding of animal intelligence and empathy? When they finally arrived at the research station, news of their unusual passengers had preceded them. A crowd of researchers, staff, and curious onlookers had gathered, all eager to catch a glimpse of the boy and his unlikely protector. As the Land Rover came to a stop, a hush fell over the assembled crowd. Amina stepped out first, her face alight with excitement. "Ladies and gentlemen," she announced, "I'd like you to meet Musa and Assad. I think they're about to change everything we thought we knew about human-animal relationships." Over the days that followed, the research station buzzed with activity. Musa was given a thorough medical examination which revealed that, apart from minor dehydration and exhaustion, he was in good health. The boy quickly became a favorite among the staff, his shy smile and gentle nature winning hearts wherever he went. Assad, for his part, became the subject of intense study. Under Amina's supervision, a team of researchers began to document his behavior, running a battery of tests to assess his intelligence and emotional capacity. What they discovered astounded them. Not only was Assad far more intelligent than they had ever imagined a lion could be, but he also displayed levels of empathy and emotional understanding that were previously thought to be the exclusive domain of humans and a few other highly intelligent species, like dolphins and great apes. As the days turned into weeks, Musa and Assad's bond only grew stronger. The lion seemed to understand that the boy needed more than just physical protection. He offered emotional support as well, staying close when Musa had nightmares about his ordeal and encouraging him to play and explore when the boy's spirits were low. For Musa, Assad became more than just a protector. He was a friend, a confidant, and in many ways, the family the boy had lost. In the lion's presence, Musa began to heal from the traumas he had endured, rediscovering the joy and wonder of childhood that had been stripped away by loss and hardship. The story of the boy and the lion soon spread beyond the confines of the research station. Journalists and documentary filmmakers flocked to the site, eager to capture this real-life fairy tale. Musa and Assad's story touched hearts around the world, challenging preconceptions about the divide between humans and animals. But as public interest in their story grew, so did concerns about their future. The research station was not equipped to be a permanent home for either a growing boy or a full-grown lion. Debates raged among the staff and the wider scientific community about what would be best for both Musa and Assad. Some argued that Assad should be released back into the wild, allowed to live out his life as nature intended. Others felt that separating him from Musa would be cruel, given the depth of their bond. As for Musa, there were those who believed he should be placed with a foster family, given the chance to have a normal childhood away from the spotlight. Amina, who had grown deeply attached to both boy and lion, found herself at the center of these debates. She knew that whatever decision was made would have far-reaching consequences, not just for Musa and Assad, but for their understanding of the potential for human-animal relationships. As the debate raged on, Amina spent long hours observing Musa and Assad together. She watched as they played, rested, and communicated in their own unique way. Slowly, an idea began to form in her mind, a bold, perhaps crazy idea, but one that she believed could offer a solution benefiting not just Musa and Assad, but potentially the whole world. With the support of her colleagues, and after much careful planning, Amina proposed the creation of a new kind of sanctuary, one that would blur the lines between wildlife preserve and human habitation. It would be a place where Musa could grow up safely, receiving an education and the care he needed, while still maintaining his extraordinary bond with Assad. At the same time, it would serve as a living laboratory, allowing researchers to study the long-term effects of this unique human-animal relationship. The proposal was met with both excitement and skepticism. It would require significant funding, careful planning, and the navigation of complex legal and ethical issues. But as news of the plan spread, support began to pour in from around the world. People were captivated by the story of the boy and the lion, and many were eager to see what could be learned from their relationship. After months of preparation, the sanctuary finally became a reality. Set on the edge of the national park, it provided a safe, controlled environment where Musa and Assad could live together under the watchful eyes of researchers and caregivers. The sanctuary also became home to other rescued animals, creating a unique community where humans and animals could coexist and learn from each other. As the years passed, Musa grew from a shy, traumatized boy into a confident young man with a deep passion for wildlife conservation. Assad remained by his side, their bond undiminished by time. The lion's mane had begun to show streaks of gray, but his eyes still held the same intelligence and gentleness that had first captivated Musa on that dusty road so many years ago. The sanctuary flourished beyond anyone's wildest expectations. What had started as a home for Musa and Assad had grown into a world-renowned center for the study of human-animal interactions. Researchers from around the globe came to observe and learn, their findings challenging long-held beliefs about the emotional and cognitive capabilities of animals. Musa, now in his early 20s, had become an integral part of the sanctuary's work. His unique perspective as someone who had grown up alongside a lion made him an invaluable asset to the research team. He had a gift for understanding animal behavior that went beyond scientific observation. It was an intuition born of deep empathy and years of companionship with Assad. One warm afternoon, as Musa sat with Assad in their favorite spot overlooking the savannah, he reflected on the incredible journey that had brought them to this point. The memory of that terrifying day on the road still lingered, but it no longer held the power to frighten him. Instead, it served as a reminder of the unexpected ways in which life could change in an instant. "You know, old friend," Musa said, his hand resting gently on Assad's massive head, "I sometimes wonder what would have happened if you hadn't found me that day. Where would I be now? What kind of person would I have become?" Assad rumbled softly in response, his amber eyes fixed on Musa's face with an expression that seemed to convey understanding. Over the years, Musa had learned to interpret the lion's various vocalizations and body language with remarkable accuracy. He knew that this particular sound was Assad's way of offering comfort and reassurance. I know, Musa chuckled. No use dwelling on what ifs, right? We're here now, and that's what matters. As they sat together, enjoying the peace of the afternoon, Musa's thoughts turned to the future. The sanctuary had given him a purpose and a home, but he couldn't help feeling that there was still more to be done. The world beyond their protected haven was changing rapidly, and not always for the better. Climate change, habitat loss, and human-wildlife conflict were threatening the delicate balance of ecosystems around the globe. Musa knew that the story of his bond with Assad had touched hearts around the world, but he wondered if it could do more. Could their unique relationship help bridge the gap between humans and the natural world in a more profound way? As if sensing the direction of Musa's thoughts, Assad let out a soft growl and nudged his hand. Musa looked down at his old friend, a smile spreading across his face. "You're right," he said. "We've never backed down from a challenge before. Why start now?" Over the next few months, Musa threw himself into developing new outreach programs for the sanctuary. He worked with the research team to create interactive experiences that would allow visitors to forge their own connections with the animals, always under careful supervision and with the animals' well-being as the top priority. One of the most popular initiatives was a program that paired at-risk youth with rescued animals. Musa had vivid memories of how Assad's presence had helped him heal from his own trauma, and he hoped to offer that same opportunity to others. The results were remarkable. Children who had been withdrawn or aggressive began to open up, finding in their animal companions the unconditional acceptance and support they so desperately needed. As word of the sanctuary's success spread, Musa found himself increasingly in demand as a speaker and consultant. He traveled around the world sharing the story of his life with Assad and the lessons they had learned together. His talks inspired a new generation of conservationists and animal behaviorists, challenging them to look beyond traditional boundaries and explore the depths of human-animal connections. But no matter how far his work took him, Musa always returned to the sanctuary and to Assad. The bond between them remained as strong as ever, a living testament to the power of compassion and the unexpected forms that love could take. As Assad entered his twilight years, Musa found himself facing the difficult reality of his friend's mortality. The lion's movements had slowed, and he spent more time resting than he had in his younger days. Yet his spirit remained undimmed, his eyes still shining with the same intelligence and affection that had first drawn Musa to him. On a cool evening, as the sun painted the sky in brilliant shades of orange and pink, Musa sat with Assad on their favorite hilltop. The lion's head rested in Musa's lap, his breathing slow and steady. Musa stroked Assad's mane gently, tears welling in his eyes as he contemplated the inevitable. "You know," Musa said softly, his voice thick with emotion, "I've been thinking a lot about that day on the road, about how scared and alone I felt, and how you changed everything. You didn't just save my life, Assad. You gave me a purpose, a family. You showed me that love doesn't care about species or boundaries. It just is." Assad rumbled softly, his eyes fixed on Musa's face. In that moment, Musa felt he could see every memory they had shared reflected in those amber depths, every laugh, every challenge, every quiet moment of companionship. "I don't know how much time we have left together," Musa continued, "but I want you to know that whatever happens, your legacy will live on. The work we've done here, the lives we've touched. It's bigger than just you and me now. It's a testament to what's possible when we open our hearts and minds to the world around us." As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the savannah, Musa and Assad sat in comfortable silence. The first stars began to twinkle in the darkening sky, and a cool breeze rustled through the grass. In that moment, surrounded by the beauty of the African night, Musa felt a profound sense of peace wash over him. He knew that whatever the future held, the bond he shared with Assad would endure. It had already reshaped his life and touched countless others. Now it was up to him to carry that legacy forward, to continue spreading the message of compassion and understanding that had begun with a chance encounter on a dusty road so many years ago. As Musa looked out over the sanctuary that had become his home, he felt a renewed sense of purpose. The path ahead might be uncertain, but with the lessons Assad had taught him and the strength of their enduring bond to guide him, Musa knew he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. The story of the boy and the lion had captured hearts around the world, but Musa understood now that it was just the beginning. The true power of their tale lay not in its extraordinary nature, but in the universal truths it revealed. That love knows no boundaries, that compassion can bridge even the widest divides, and that in opening our hearts to the natural world, we discover the very best of our own humanity. As the night deepened and the sounds of the savannah filled the air, Musa and Assad remained on their hilltop, two souls united by an unbreakable bond. Their journey together had been remarkable, but its impact would continue to ripple outward, touching lives and changing perspectives for generations to come. In that moment, under the vast African sky, the boy who had once been lost and alone, and the lion who had become his protector and friend were exactly where they were meant to be, together, at peace, and forever a part of each other's stories.